Hello. Yes. Whew. Who would have ever thought that a little girl named Rhoda, who grew up in a low-income housing project and who lived through a series of traumatic experiences, would have ever worked her way up from the projects to the boardroom? Whew. Look at me. Look at me. No one, not even I, could have imagined that I would be the head of talent management at American Ag Credit, the third largest bank in the farm credit system, the subject matter expert for leading their talent strategy. I like to think that I am the best example of what I do in my profession. And what exactly does a talent expert do? Glad you asked. I help people to reach their full potential, to become the very best version of themselves, to tap into and leverage talent that they didn't even know they had. Further, I teach leaders in organizations how to do the very same thing, which leads to high-performing teams. It leads to elevated employee engagement. It leads to increased employee retention and ultimately positive organizational financial performance. At American Ag Credit, we service more than 10,000 clients, ensuring that our farmers and other food and agriculture experts have the finances they need to produce food to feed the world. And I'm so very proud. I'm proud to contribute to such a mission. See, growing up, the oldest of 4 girls, raised by a single mom, there will be many days when we sometimes did not even know where our next meal would come from. For 2 years, I went to high school hungry. And we know high school is hard all by itself, so I didn't need that added stress. But having no food at home to pack for lunch or money to buy lunch, it only added to the stressors of being in school, particularly being in private high school. You know, St. Louis is big on private high schools, private schools in general. I begged my mother to send me to Lutheran North because I had gone to a private grade school, and that's where all my grade school friends were going. What I did not know is that I would be the only student in the whole high school who took 3 Bass State buses to get to school from the inner city of St. Louis, and that my friends from grade school would make new friends. And in high school, that I would often be made fun of and mocked for living in the ghetto. Their words, not mine. It was hard trying to learn while being hungry all day, but it was only temporary until I was old enough to get a job. And guess where I ended up working? Burger King. Where you can have it your way. The Whopper became my friend. And fast forward to current day, here I am working in an organization who is contributing to feeding the world. Life has a way of coming full circle. I have experienced a lot of traumas in my life. I mean, situations that sound like they could be a Netflix series. And some of them very well could be. I'm wondering, is Tyler Perry in the audience? Because I did invite him. These situations that I've experienced, they're events that lead post-traumatic stress, events that have the potential to leave many emotional scars, events that sometimes are very hard to even think about. So we opt to suppress them. And events that most people, quite frankly, they don't even make it out alive. Someone once asked me, Rhoda, what motivates you? That person is in the audience. I remember thinking to myself, whew, feels like a loaded question. It's pretty deep. Take a seat. The truth is It was a combination of not wanting to ever have to go back and live in the projects in an environment where one had to dodge bullets, witness murders, watch my mom being beat by my then stepfather, being made fun of for living where I did, being called ugly, and carrying the load of feeling like I had to provide for my mother and 3 little sisters. And yes, sadly, often having thoughts of suicide because I did not love myself and thought others didn't either. These experiences, they were traumatic, and yes, they left many scars, but I am in awe that I'm here to tell the story. The short answer to that question, Rhoda, what motivates you, is this: survival. That's it. At the time that question was posed to me, my main motivation was to survive, and because of that deep desire to survive, I refused to let trauma win. Speaking of winning, I have a reputation for not only wanting to see others win, but helping them to do so. My intentions show up in how I lead, how I mentor, how I support, how I encourage, and how I coach others. I once led a training department at a large healthcare organization here in St. Louis with a team of 35 individuals, and within 5 years, I had promoted 22 of them to higher positions, and many of them have gone on to be very successful, and some are in the audience tonight. I've had so many opportunities to impact and touch the lives of others in the work I do and by serving and leading others. I saw it and I continue to see it as an honor and a great responsibility to lead others. How we treat people at work or outside of work leaves an impression on them. I am constantly asking myself, what impression did I leave them with? How did they experience me? My ultimate goal is to give people the Rhoda experience. The Rhoda experience. I bet you all are wondering, what's that? Hopefully for those in the audience who know me, know exactly what I'm talking about, and hopefully by the end of my story, you will have experienced it. I learned many things by growing up in the hood, and one of them was how to survive, and the other was how to fight. Tough situations build strong people, and we are all stronger than we know. If I had to describe the Rhoda experience, this is how I would describe it. A breath of authenticity mixed with genuine and instant warmth, care, and concern for others, laced with words of encouragement and actions to back them up, and sprinkled with intentional and unexpected seeds of kindness. Earlier, I shared that I worked myself up from the projects to the boardroom. It's true. I started my career as a cashier at Barnes Hospital, working in Queenie Tower parking garage on South Kings Highway, and I've held an array of positions from lower level to leadership. The journey from the parking garage to the boardroom wasn't easy, but it was worth it. I'm often asked, how did you get to where you are? And if I had to summarize that, I would say it's 3 primary key things. One is prayer. I practice putting legs on my faith, and I'm not afraid to take risks. The second is people. I met so many individuals who have helped me, who poured into me, and who believed in me, and many of them are here tonight. The third is persistence. I don't give up easy. I recognize that redirection is often disguised as rejection, so I don't allow rejection to discourage me. I perceive rejection as protection. I'm being preserved for something greater to come. The bottom line is, I believed what those people who encouraged me said and what they said about me, and eventually I started to believe in myself. I believe that trauma that I've experienced in life, it prepared me for life's journey. And that's what my story's about, the journey. I guess having made it through a toxemia pregnancy, one that nearly killed me and my unborn son, taught me that nothing is impossible. There was a 50-50 chance that my son would live. There was a high probability that I would need to go on dialysis, and I was temporarily blind for 3 months due to elevated blood pressure from the toxemia. Fortunately, my eyesight returned, my son lived, and I escaped having to have dialysis. Praise God. Remember, I started with, who would have ever thought that a little girl named Rhoda, who grew up in a low-income housing project, would have worked her way up from the projects to the boardroom? I've seen so much. I've been in so many uncommon situations. I've witnessed a murder. I've been hit by a car. I've witnessed my mother in an abusive relationship and just a multitude of other traumatic experiences. However, as I stated, I refuse to let trauma win. Those things that happened to me was just that. They happened to me, but they do not define me. Thank you. Yes. While the things I've experienced in life were not positive, they did lead to positive outcomes. Therefore, my journey is one of positivity, one of turning trauma into triumph. The truth of the matter is this: we all have a story. We've all dealt with and or experienced some form of trauma, and we do not have to allow our trauma to take the front seat, to win, and we definitely don't have to allow it to define us. We can let our past make us better, not bitter. Repeat. We can let our past make us better, not bitter. Yes. I love inspirational quotes, and one that resonates with my story is this: difficult roads often lead to beautiful destinations. Without those difficulties, I wouldn't be here today sharing with each of you. So I want to encourage you all to do the same. Let your past make you better, not bitter. Remember that tough situations build strong people, and that you owe it to yourself to become everything you've ever dreamed of being. Thank you all for listening to my story, and guess what? By doing so, you've each now are a part of it. Thank you.